Okay, so I think that we can go ahead and get started. I am going to share my screen in a minute, but before we do so, my name is Vanessa Cordova. I am the communications manager at Colorado Sierra Club. My pronouns are she, hers, and I've been with Colorado Sierra Club for about a little over a year, like a year and 3 months or so. It's been a very cool and rewarding experience. I've only lived in Colorado for about like 2.5 years, and I'm so grateful to have found this community here. I'm originally from Munster, Indiana. I'm the oldest of four, which I believe also makes me the wisest, but that's just me. And a fun fact about myself is that I love spicy food. I could eat it every day of my life. And I also have a dog named Gino who makes me crazy, but he's lucky. He's so cute. That's why I'm keeping him. And yeah, so that's a little bit about me. Thank you to everyone who made the time to join us today for our advocacy workshop series. This has been a really cool series that like our organizing team has been putting on. And so for those of you who have made previous workshops that have been going on the past couple months, that's awesome. And we're still going to have a handful more. So please stay tuned in the next couple of weeks for more information on that. I believe our next one is January 20th on storytelling. So today we're obviously going to be talking about social media. Social media is everywhere. People use it to stay up to date on news. People use it to keep in touch with friends. People even use it as their diary sometimes. So it's definitely a huge part of our lives, and especially being virtual, we're using it now more than ever to get the word out about events. And today to learn how to get the word out about advocacy and how to be an advocate on social media. So I'm going to share my screen so we can all follow along on a presentation. Can everyone see my screen? Even a thumbs up is fine for me to, yeah, okay, great. Let me present this. Here we go. Okay, cool. So social media for change, that's what we're going to be talking about today, how to advocate online. Especially this is super important right now since we're all at home and can't really do things in person. So today we are going to cover developing a social media strategy, how to be engaging on social media, how to extend your reach, our social strategy, kind of like in a nutshell at Colorado Sierra Club, a few resources that we believe will be helpful to you, and then we'll leave some time for questions and answers at the end. Okay, so this slide I wanted to start off with just because I think it is one of the most important things when we put anything out into the world on social media. So 1.7 seconds. 1.7 seconds is the average time spent looking at content on a mobile device. So when I'm scrolling on Facebook or Instagram, on Twitter, I can literally grasp like what each post is about in about 1.7 seconds. And that's how much time it takes for me to decide whether I'm gonna keep scrolling, this is irrelevant, I don't care about that, or, oh, I wanna click through to this, or I wanna learn more about this. 2.5 seconds is the average time spent on content on desktop. So we have a little more of a strong attention span when we're on desktop, but when we're on our phone and that like busy, kind of just doing it passively, our attention span definitely shrinks. So I wanted to start off with this slide so that everyone here can just kind of grasp how important it is for our content to be concise, to have like a really strong visual, and to kind of just like your elevator pitch, like pretend it takes 1.7 seconds to get from floor 1 to 2. Like that's how quick people lose interest. So just kind of keep this in mind as we like go through the rest of the slides. Okay, so how to develop a social strategy. An engaging visual or video, I guess, is always really helpful, whether it's, a picture of the mountains, a bright colored graphic, a video that is, not boring and just kind of like gets to the point. Anything with subtitles always helps. That is going to be kind of like your bait when you are putting stuff out into the world. And then the second thing that will help develop your social strategy is a user-friendly landing page. So not necessarily everything that you'll be putting out needs to have a landing page. It doesn't have to have a petition. It doesn't have to have a Google form or even like an article. Most of the time, I would assume it will for Colorado Sierra Club, but it doesn't necessarily have to. If for any reason that you do, it just has to be user friendly. Like there's no reason that anyone should be taken to the Colorado Sierra Club's homepage just because there's so much information there. It doesn't really, it's not intuitive for anybody to just be taken to a page where they have to figure out where to click through next. So just making sure that your landing page is user friendly and that whether it's a form, an article, or a petition is just key, because people will drop off very quickly if it takes a long time to load, if it's hard for them to figure out like what the next steps are. If you're making them like click through to a bunch of different pages, a one-stop shop is always like the best way to go when you're trying to get people to do something or click through to something. The third thing is a concise description or caption. That is something that I am constantly working on. A lot of the things that Colorado Sierra Club works on, whether it's about oil and gas, whether it's about the wolves, which we were able to get back into Colorado, it's like you want to say so much and you want people to understand why this matters. But sometimes when we put like way too long of captions and like novels, it makes people just like overwhelmed. I'm definitely like that. When I see a post that has like 7 paragraphs, I just like, not today. Like my brain, I'm here to like take a second. I've been reading emails all day. I'm not trying to read like 4 paragraphs on social media right now. So if it could just be 1 sentence is the goal, but like if it could be like 1 to 3, that would be ideal, so that people can get the gist of what you're talking about and then they're intrigued and they're like, oh, I definitely want to learn more about that. I'm going to click through. I am going to sign that petition, or I want to read more about this article and how this impacts me here in Colorado. So that's like rule number 3. And then the 4th one is like asking yourself, like, why does this matter? So I think I even have to sometimes, like when I get content through the news and just kind of wanting to keep people informed through our pages and platforms, sometimes I ask myself, like, is this worth posting, or am I just kind of like adding to the saturated social media world? Like, does this matter? Will our base care about this? Will the people that like count on Colorado Sierra Club to like be informative, will this like be adding value? Or am I just posting for the sake of posting? Because I was so busy yesterday, I didn't post today. So like, I don't want to just post for the sake of posting, and ask myself, like, why does this matter? So basically what I'm saying is like, don't be the seal. Don't be the seal that like posts like 16 times a day, and then people just are like, oh my gosh, like this organization, this person is just like way too much. I'm unfollowing them. They're completely like trashing my feed. So like, all I'm asking is like not to be this little seal right here. That's like when you will definitely lose following. And a formula that I just kind of use that I think works is kind of limiting it to like 3 times a day on every platform max. I try to do like with the time that I have, like I'd normally do like 2 times a day, but I never want to go over 3 times just because it just becomes a little, this is a harsh word, but a little obnoxious. And so I think 3 times is kind of like the magic number, 2 to 3, to keep people engaged and to like not overwhelm everyone on their feeds. Okay, here we go. So how to engage and be effective. So obviously, like we're talking about advocacy here. So I think this is a really important slide. And thinking about your values and vision, why do you care? And then the problem. So how does this frame a threat to our values and vision? And then solutions, pivot to what outcome you want, and then a call to action, what needs to happen to get there. So this is pretty much the formula to advocate online. And I think that like stating the problem, for an example, like oil and gas is drilling way too close to homes and schools. We need so-and-so to put stronger rules in so that they can be X amount of feet away. Like sign this petition to tell so-and-so, or like sign this petition and take action. That's like the magic formula of like advocacy posts. And so basically like, this is the problem. This is what we need to do. Like, this is how it can be better. And this is what you can do to advocate for this. So this, and just an FYI, like I will share this entire presentation with everyone, and you can have this formula, like if you just kind of want to screenshot it and save it for when you do post in the future. I think this is the easiest way to make sure that your posts are concise. People know exactly what you're talking about. They understand why this matters. And this is just kind of like basically like the magic potion to make sure that you're advocating in a concise way. And people are like, what is she talking about? Like, I don't understand what this petition is for. This will guarantee that anyone who sees it understands what they are what's needed to make change, pretty much. Okay, so how to extend your reach. When you post on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, if you can, tag as many people involved as possible. So like if you worked with a partner organization, if you worked with a political figure on set, you're praising a political figure, or if you're hammering them for something, like tag as many people involved in it. If you're working with other local groups, that will just kind of help the post that you have kind of get more reach, and more people will pay attention to it because of that. And the second thing is to use popular hashtags. So just kind of trying to figure out like picking like 3 to 5, even if it's like 1 to 5 is fine. And just thinking about like, what hashtag could be tied to this. And also you can check on like Instagram and Twitter. There are ways to check like which ones are trending and figuring out which ones have X amount of posts. So like when I post on Instagram and I put climate change, there's obviously like over like 50 million posts that have that. So that's very popular. Like Colorado Life, that has over like 50,000 people that follow it. So those are just things that like a good practice to kind of play around with hashtags and just see which ones people are following. And if you do want to track a particular hashtag that you create just to see how many people have reposted you, you can totally make one up that doesn't exist. So it could be like Sierra Club social workshop, like that probably, or Colorado CO Sierra Club social workshop probably doesn't exist. So if I wanted to track something, I would make up my own hashtag that makes sense and that isn't too long, so that I could track how many times it was shared or reposted or retweeted. That's definitely a cool tactic to track how many, like the engagement on your post. Oops, wait a second. Oh, here we go. Okay, and I mentioned again, like using a concise description and caption is just something that's like way more shareable than something that is really, really long. So more people, I think, are very protective of their Facebook page and like what they share with their friends. And so I think the more concise you can be and just kind of like hammering home the point, they're more likely to share that instead of sharing like a really emotional, like 3-paragraph thing where they might not even necessarily feel the same way. So like having it like really concise with the action is something that people are more likely to share. And then the last thing, to also kind of expand your reach, like there is no harm in sprinkling in humor and good news. A lot of the things, which is unfortunate, that like we work on are things that kind of suck, right? Like oil and gas, like not having access to clean water or clean air, like certain communities. And that's obviously something that we are going to continue spreading awareness on. Those are problems that we wish didn't exist. But something that is really important to recognize is that like we do need to sprinkle in good news. So like X community committed to, you know, X amount of electric vehicle charging stations. Like we want to share that stuff. Or like new solar garden in this community in like Southern Colorado, and just kind of sharing like that change is possible, change is happening, your actions are making a difference. And so sharing good news and also sprinkling in humor, AKA a meme like the seal that I shared a little bit ago, and I saw all of you laughing, so I know that it works. It does make a difference, and it will make people more engaged. And like we need that haha, especially in times like these. So moving on. So here are some examples. I just kind of grabbed some good, like some posts from different platforms that we use that performed really well. So like, for example, on Twitter, right? We use that for news all the time, updates about things happening in the legislature, things happening with climate change, oil and gas, our Beyond Coal team. We like try to share as much as possible on Twitter. And once in a while, you just gotta sprinkle something in like this. And this performed so well. Not that our other ones don't, but like the 2 little otters holding hands during a pandemic and saying only hold hands with someone from the same household, like for some reason, it did really well. And then this one on Facebook, this one tied to a story. So this was something that actually my colleague here, Alexis, shared with me and asked me to post. And when I read it, I was like, oh, this is incredible. This is like a real human story. And it's like one short paragraph, like 3 sentences. And the action is like to read more. it had over 42,000, or like the reach was over 42,000 people. And that was completely organic because it struck a chord with our base. So more people were sharing it, and more people wanted to share it with people that they knew because they knew that it mattered. So that's just like something else to think about too. And I should have included that in one of my previous slides, but like definitely personal stories and making it like more human if you can definitely makes a huge difference. It humanizes everything, and all of the things that we're working on is to protect human life. So like the more human you can make your posts as well, the better. So this was just like probably our top performer in the last, or like our top organic performer, I would say in the last like 4 months was this one. And then on Instagram, we got a little quirky again, but this was like to take action. So like, who do we need to talk about this? Sign this petition telling the governor of Colorado that Colorado needs bolder action on pollution that is harming our communities and climate. Link in bio. And so this was for a petition. This was driving people to take action. And so we kind of made it a little funny, and it definitely worked. It worked in order to keep it like short, sweet, and for people to understand like, hey, like if wildlife could talk, like this is what they would be saying. So definitely get creative and don't hold back from getting a little quirky with your posts too. It's like a test and learn process. There is no way that you will necessarily know how well something is going to perform. But when you do see something perform really well, you know, like save it and try to mock that as much as possible because it clearly worked. Okay. So I just wanted to share some like reach and audience information. I know that like not everyone has like an official page, but just like so you understand the type of people that are attracted to our work. Our organic reach, you know, per month is 124,000. This is like on average people. Our paid reach is, you know, just under 1 million, which definitely fluctuates depending on when and how often we're running ads. The average age on Facebook of the people who follow our page are between the ages of 21 and 29. And then here is the gender breakdown. So 52% of women, 47% of men, and 1% unidentified. And then what we share, and here on the right is pretty much what we share on all of our platforms, are articles, photos, other organizations' content that is aligned with our work, op-eds and LTEs and videos. And I think that's something else to like point out that is really important, that if you see another organization that just like shares something that is so powerful and aligned with what your values are, like no need to reinvent the wheel, just kind of like give them like a shout out and repost it. And it'll just also help your reach as well, because more people that are aligned with or that are following that organization because they're tagged will then see that you did that, and they might actually like follow or just kind of share your post as well. The same information sharing here on Instagram. Weekly, we reach about 1,400 people. That's that's per week. And then gender, 63% women, 37% men. And then we share the same things on Instagram that we share on Facebook. A cool feature that I also wanted to bring up for anyone that isn't familiar, if your Facebook and your Instagram accounts are connected, which is very easy to do, like when you share stories on your Instagram, they can automatically share on your Facebook to save you time and effort. Also, if you post on your Instagram, you can also post that to your Facebook in like at the same time. So that it like also saves you time there. The only thing you might have to tweak is like the link, but I do that very often because it just saves me a lot of time and effort. So just a quick trick if you didn't want to do double work. And then good old Twitter. So in January so far, we've had 10 tweets with over 20,000 impressions, so meaning like views. We've had 528 profile visits, 11 mentions, and 9 new followers. And then similarly, like we share the same things. And if we see a tweet that we think, like we retweeted Environment Colorado on the 11th. So that's, you know, we'll like lift other people's work up or just retweet something that we completely agree with. And I also wanted to share some resources here. So I am not sure if how many people on this call are familiar with Canva. So Canva is a free tool that allows you to create graphics, videos, infographics, and more. I actually created this presentation in Canva and I'm presenting from it. It's a very, very cool tool that like if you're not a graphic designer and if like Design Studio intimidates you like it intimidates me. This is such a user-friendly platform, and it's free for you to create graphics and like create awareness for your campaigns, and you're not worried about like what the imagery is going to look like. It is so easy, so user-friendly. So I highly recommend using this tool. It's not even something you have to download. It's just something you'll use in a tab, or you can download the app if you prefer to use it on your phone. Another really cool tool for social media, especially like advocacy work, when you want to share petitions or just kind of news, and you have those really long, ugly URLs that just kind of like ruin your post, Bitly will shorten it for you. So it'll say like bit.ly and then slash, and then you can name it like Co-Springs like oil petition, or like Excel petition, or like Wolf petition, and you can just kind of name it yourself, so that when you do say like learn more or take action or click here, it's like this really nice short little link that just definitely doesn't distract from the post that you have. And then the third thing, I just think this is such a cool platform. I have been using it practically my entire career, like the last 7 years. It's called HubSpot. And it's this company that just like stays abreast of all marketing things. And they have a social media team that has all of these videos about like how to run ads, how to like write captivating posts, like how to create imagery, how to do short links, it's pretty much like anything you'd ever question. They have like a how-to video there. They're all free. And if you do them all, you get like a little like certificate at the end, and the videos are so short. But I do recommend that anyone interested in learning more about it, or like decides they want to run ads or just become like this social expert, HubSpot is incredible. And that's also where I, in the past, have downloaded content calendars. Whether you're doing it for yourself or volunteering with our organization, another organization, or there's like a group of you wanting to advocate for something, content calendars, I think, are so helpful. You basically get to have the spreadsheet super simple and just have the dates, talk about like the different issues that you want to rotate, have the links, like everything ready to go. And so HubSpot has free content calendars that you can just download. But we use one internally. I think it's really great. Our organizers are super awesome about plugging stuff in there and making my life easier. And I just think it's a really cool way to have a bird's eye view on like everything that you've been sharing. And it's helpful to see like, oh, wow, I've been posting a lot about this issue and have been neglecting this one. Like I need to spend more time on these other issues. So I think it's really helpful. And I think it's a cool tool to make sure that you are posting with like a nice cadence. And lastly, our organizing team put together like a social toolkit that we have, which we'll also share with a follow-up email tomorrow. But it was a folder created, and it basically just kind of has different resources on like how to create videos, like how to upload them, how to use Canva, how to shorten your links. So it's just a folder with a lot of how to like Word documents that are just they were pretty much created just to help anybody do this kind of work. And I know that it can be really intimidating, but it actually, once you get the swing of it, it's pretty easy. And it's the easiest, I would say that one of the easiest ways to advocate and get the word out. And let's see. So that was pretty much it on my end. And I wanted to save time to like open the floor to questions. Like I'm going to stop sharing now. We can talk about anything from like a simple question that someone might have about like, how do I post this? Or just like if you're working on a campaign and you just like need some ideas or to brainstorm or something like that, please use this space for anything you have questions on. Oh, I see in the chat that Velma asked, oh, I'm the one writing novels on my posts. When is it okay to tag political figures? So, okay, so I think that it's okay to tag political figures, whether it's you're asking them to do something or praising them. So I think there's like no problem in tagging them, whether it's like positive or negative. We tag political figures quite often. Commissioners, we've tagged them on Twitter and on Instagram. Obviously, you can't tag them if they don't have an account. So one thing that, for anyone who's not familiar with this here, I have to do this all the time because I forget what their names are. and sometimes they don't auto-populate for me, but I'll have to type in like rep so-and-so in Google and then like click through to their Twitter account or click through to their Facebook so that I can like tag them in our post. And it's mostly to put pressure on them, like, please like advocate for this, or like, please, consider this bill, or, please like reconsider this policy on X, Y, or Z. So I don't think there's any problem. I mean, they asked to be in the spotlight, so I'm like, tag away. Does anyone else have any questions or anything they want to talk through on social media? Or is there anything that maybe I shared that wasn't clear or that needs some clarity or for me to elaborate on? No? Oh, go ahead.
This is Sarah Vargo talking from the Headwaters chapter. What do you use to create landing pages? Do you have a specific program that you prefer?
So our team uses Salesforce to create the majority of our landing pages. I have used Google Forms as well. It depends on like what it's for. And also for petitions, we use a platform called AddUp. I know that is more of like a Sierra Club, like proprietary thing that we use there. But I definitely recommend like Google Forms, I think is incredible. And then like for other advocacy, like that's actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because in the follow-up that we share, I know that there are some really great like petition generators that you can share to collect names. Is that what you're asking, Sarah?
Yeah, for sure. Google Forms is pretty great. That's the answers that. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Okay, and I see something else. David Alley asked to have a male-female breakdown for Twitter. I'm sorry, David, I don't know if I understand your question. Do you mind sharing more on that?
Yeah, excuse me. I was just curious because you had talked about the Facebook and Instagram. More women are using Instagram. I was just curious if there was statistical breakdown for people that really turn to Twitter as their main source.
Oh, I'm not sure if Twitter on their analytics gave that to me. I just screenshotted what was available. 1 second, let me see. Yeah, Twitter like didn't give me that information, but I would assume because it was so similar on Instagram and Facebook, it probably lands there as well.
Well, Instagram was 63% female, which surprised me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a biggie. Thanks.
Sure. Velma asked, can you talk about the scheduling functions on Facebook? I use those a lot to avoid trumping myself into edit posts. I'm not sure. Sure. So that's actually a really great point, Velma. Facebook now has like a post studio. So you can actually schedule your posts. So let's say that you want to post something at 3 p.m., right at 3 p.m. but that's like your nap time. So like you need to schedule it in advance. You can go on at noon and you could put your post there and then actually schedule it at 3 p.m. And Velma, I'm glad you brought up scheduling functions, because another tool that I also really like is called Hootsuite. So that's also a free tool, and we'll send that around tomorrow as well. But you can, like, for free, I think you can sync up 2 accounts. So let's say you want to sync up Twitter and Facebook. You can like schedule posts for like a week straight and then just like sit back and drink a pina colada while like everything's posting. So it's like really nice if you're that organized and can know exactly what you want to post in advance. But Facebook does also have that feature, and they're kind of like post studio when you create content. Okay, so Liana's asked, related to Velma's scheduling questions, are there some best practices for time, day, specific days that are more likely to be effective, and that you love Hootsuite? Oh, Liana, I'm glad you've used Hootsuite before. That's actually a really good question. So every day is different. I notice, and I've like checked those statistics in the past, like Tuesdays like perform so well. I also noticed that on Thursday evenings when I post, they also perform very well. So you can literally Google, and I can share that out tomorrow too, like the best time of day. And like sometimes like the time zone also makes a difference. Oh, that's my husband and dog. Oh, here you go. Sure. So the time zone can also make a difference. And so I can send out a chart as well that like shows the different days of the week and the time. And you'd be surprised like how different it is. Like how if you post at like 11 on a Saturday, most people are hiking or like eating breakfast with their family or doing something, and not as many people are engaging. So I'm happy to send out like what that looks like, so everyone can kind of get used to posting at certain times on certain days. Okay, Velma, Facebook scheduling is found by clicking on publishing tools. Yeah, so when you create your post and you want to publish something, that's definitely a tool that you can use. And when I go in tomorrow as well, we can send around like a screenshot of what that looks like to schedule your post. Any other questions? Is there anything that perhaps I didn't cover that anyone wants to ask about? Or even share if you have some really cool tips and tricks about social that you saw really worked, like please take the floor and feel free to share with the group.
Hey, I'm interested in your analytics, how you follow analytics. Like, do you do A/B testing on different posts and the kind of time frames with that? Like, what's a sweet spot for a time frame to say, okay, this one over this one, you know, this ad or this post one over this one. Does that make sense?
So for, I think like organic posts and ads kind of are not like apples to apples. So like when we do like organic posting and I click on our insights tab to the left on our page, and I think like every official page should be able to check your insights. Yeah, like you'll be able to see like every post. I kind of have a rule where like I don't like to post, I like to let there be like at least a 3-hour break between posting. So that the other one has enough time to like gain traction and get the attention it deserves. So as long as like if you post at like noon and then do it again at like 12:45, that's like not really a good comparison. But I do think that like if you like check like week over week, like how did last Tuesday's post compared to this Tuesday's post, and what was so much better about those, and like kind of doing it day by day or even like topic by topic. So like we definitely noticed that there are just like some issues that Colorado Sierra Club works on that really fires people up over some other ones. And so I think it's just kind of like figuring out like what that is. And it definitely takes time. As far as ads go, with like A/B testing, ads are just different because of the money put behind it. So Facebook allows you to like auto optimize. And what that means is like if I have like one ad that's one ad of a seal and another of a bunny, and they both have the same link, but like I use different text for it. Facebook will see which one is performing, like do like a 1-week learning period. And then the one that just completely performs better will just run the rest of the time. And then like, it'll just kind of knock the bad performer down so it doesn't waste money. So it's kind of like not really the same when you're comparing organic and paid. But I would definitely compare your organic based off of issue and then like the day that you did it.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Okay. So I don't see any more questions in the chat. Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Do you have some good advice for we're a new Sierra Club group that is just starting up, and I'm supposed to do the Facebook page, and so what would you tell a rank beginner?
I would tell you that when you make your page, like make sure that whatever you name your page is something super simple, like the name of your group. So like our page is like CO Sierra Club, so Colorado Sierra Club, which is like just very easy to remember. So make sure that your name, like your @name is not complicated, so you're easy to tag for other organizations, and even us, like if we want to tag you for like work that you've done. That's definitely a big thing. And then also just make sure your photos that you use for your profile and then like your cover photo are just, not pixelated. Make sure that they're like quality photos because it'll make your page look more legitimate. And just make sure you have like a nice description, like a thoughtful description of like your about us. And then if you do have a website or like a page that you want to link to learn more, but just make sure your about us is nice and concise. And then
Yeah,
I
we're
would,
not there yet either to the website, but we're trying to do it all at once because someone asked me a question on there and I don't know how to answer it even. So I'll just say we're going to be the Southwest group. And we were the Womenooch group, I guess, 20 years ago. But we found out that Womenooch means it's the name of the Ute people, the name they call themselves. So we changed our name because we didn't want to take their identity. So so it's we're just going to be the Southwest group. So that'll be simple. That's good. And then we just need our description and we're going to be working on the webpage and just trying to do it all at once.
okay, yeah, I think, and also just kind of like making your first like 1 to 3 posts like very introductory, just kind of introducing yourself and like asking people to never hesitate to reach out and just like making it known that you're just not like diving in like so deep, like sign this petition. Like I would just like kind of like make an introductory like page, if that makes sense, for the first 3 posts.
Yeah, I had a little fawn picture that was hiding in the grass, and I thought new beginnings, type of after we get through all the other things you said, like the the name and all that kind of stuff, and about us a little bit, and then so we're just starting this, and we're gonna try, and then have the little fawn picture. I don't know.
Yeah, I would just make sure that the photos that you choose, whether it says like your group name or if it's just the photo of the mountains, just make sure that it's not pixelated and that it looks like very clear.
Oh yeah, the first one's going to be a real mountain one because we have someone in our group that's a nature photographer and a
Mhm.
nature, a plant expert. So we have we have a mountain picture he wants me to use, and then I'll introduce the group and all that kind of stuff, and then we'll get to the little fawn.
Okay, cool. Well, if you have any questions or, hit any roadblocks, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Okay, well, thanks.
Sure. And then I see Liana, are there different tactic strategies you use for event promotion compared to regular sharing of articles and petitions? That's a great question, Liana. So for events, we create like an official event on our Facebook. And then after that, I'll like share the event to our page, like every couple of days. But instead of just saying like, hey, like check out this event, I take the short link that we created, like the RSVP link, and I put it in the copy, like I put it in the caption. So even though like they can click through to learn more through the event, I'm like, hey, like don't, like, just a reminder, this event is coming up, like have you RSVP'd yet, ? And then put the short link there to like make it even more likely that they'll click through and register. So that's something that I do there. And then on Instagram and Twitter, I don't share the Facebook event. I just share like the graphic that I created for it, and then just like those short links and just kind of like event alert, like we're going to be hosting this event, yada, yada, yada. Like, please, like if you're interested, RSVP, and just put like the when, like why, where, and normally like the where I'll put like the couch emoji nowadays, because that's where we're all at, but trying to keep it like short and sweet like that. Okay, do you try and follow a ratio of educational value posts versus call to actions? I try to the best of my ability. Sometimes I definitely feel like I'm way too call to action heavy, which is a good problem to have, right? Because we're working on a ton of really awesome things. But yeah, I definitely try to do, just like a news article, like sign this petition, check out this event, funny or like humorous or like good news type thing. I think that's like a good formula, because you don't want people, or I at least like don't want people to think that all Colorado Sierra Club does is ask for your signature. And so like trying to be like informative, try to get people to attend events, try to get people to take action, and also just, trying to put a smile on their face once in a while too about good news or just like something funny, is kind of like a good way to look at it. Okay, any other questions? I think I captured all of them from the chat. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining. I'll be sure to follow up with everyone who attended with an email and just kind of having this presentation, all the resources we talked about, in addition to some of the things that were discussed during the Q&A. So thank you again for everyone who made the time. And if you think of any additional questions, I'm going to put my email here in the chat. Feel free to email me if you have any questions, or you just kind of like are going, and you're like, oh, I wish you would have covered this. I'm happy to answer via email too. So thanks everyone, and have a great night.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.